Hey, what's going on, Facebook fam? It's your girl. You saw me getting ready. It's your girl, Neil Soul recording artist Lahla-Hadiya. I'm back again for another segment of Morning Tea with Mommy. So, all my faithfuls, you know the drill. Let me see those thumbs ups, those hearts, those happy faces. Let me know you guys are good. You guys are ready to get your day started. And you are happy to be in the land of the living. Some people aren't. So let me see them. Let me see them. Try to bring you guys into my world in the morning, when I'm trying to rush and get myself together. Um, anyway, we are continuing with the topic, the Black woman. This is part five. This is the last part in a five-part series in regards to the Black woman. And so today, we will be talking about nurturing our seeds. I want to get my mom on so we can go ahead and get started. Hey,
Good morning. Good morning. I guess I
why
better.
are you frozen?
How is everybody? I'm frozen.
Yes.
Why am I frozen? I certainly am. Why
I
am I
don't
frozen?
know. I mean, it's a cute little shot, but you still frozen.
Wow.
I don't know. We might have to,
Let me take a sip of coffee. Maybe I'll thaw out.
you know what? Let's see if we can.
Can
I
you
don't know.
guys
You
hear
wanna,
me?
you wanna call me back?
Yeah.
I can
I,
hear you, but I wanna see you. See you. I wanna see you live. We
oh,
having all
maybe
kind of glitches this morning. How about that?
you want to tell me something. Still frozen.
Yes, you are. Hang up and call me back.
Should I call you or you call me?
Yeah, you can call me. We're gonna wait for her to get back on here. We're gonna wait for her. And we will get started and dig into this topic. We've been talking about, while we're waiting on her, we've been talking about the Black woman. And so she's not gonna call me, so I'm gonna go ahead and call her. We've been talking about the Black woman, and today, I think I got her back. Let me see. Let me see. There I go. Hey, beautiful. Fix your camera a little bit. They can't hear you, but I need you to fix. There you go. All right, I'm about to bring you back. Well, no, fix it again. Hold on, wait a minute. I need you to adjust it a little bit more. Hey, hey, girl. I saw you. Look, I saw you setting it off on Facebook, child. But today we are talking about the Black woman again. This is part five to a five-part series. We started season four. With the notion of we were going to get to work. We were going to get down and dirty, get our hands dirty, and get to work. Season one and three, we talked about those things that cause us. I don't see you. I need you to move into the light. We talked about season three. I mean, one through three. We talked about just the things that There you go. Just the things that affected us and what got us to this point, and things we were angry about and things we thought we needed change for. And so season four was about getting that work. It's time to be about it, not just talk about it. Be a part of the solution and not the problem. And we talked about, if you are not a part of the solution, you are absolutely part of the problem. There is no in between. So we moved into in season four talking about our seeds, our children, building that village, the water that is to water them, the nutrients that goes into the water, those people that you strategically choose to be in your village to help raise your seeds, and that soil, which is the word of God, that they grow through, so that they can blossom to become what it is that God ultimately purposed for them to become. And so then we moved into the Black woman, and who she is, what she represents, and some of the stereotypes that have been created to destroy the mindset and the mental and the esteem of the Black woman. And then we moved into just well, we also stayed there and talked about, you know, her being the rib of man, and what the rib cage does, like that is meant to protect the vital organs, the heart, you know, and all those vital organs that keep a person alive, so that they can have the strength to do what it is that they need to do. And then we talked about walking in our queenism, um, helping each other, and bonding together by breaking down stereotypes. And so today we're talking about the nurturing of our seeds, going back to the beginning, which was talking about nurturing our babies, um, raising them in the correct way from the standpoint of a woman, and what your purpose and role is in your child's life. And so that's who we are today. And so I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear from you guys. I would have shown a clip today, but I chose not to, because I just talk about it. And there are many videos and live accounts, rather, that we have, that we could talk about, that we've seen over our lifetime. So I wanted to discuss, you know, when we're out and about, you know, when the pandemic did not take place yet, and you're out and about and you see another queen yelling and cursing at her children in the grocery stores, in the department stores, and how it makes you cringe, because it's like, oh my God, they're like two. Um, and how important it is, for us to model the behavior that we would like our children to come up in. And so um, that's where I want to start. That's where I want to start. And what that looks like for another queen on the outside, seeing that. And do you just walk past it, or do you interject in a positive, respectful way, so as to change the mindset of that woman, so that our seeds aren't damaged? Because again, we talked about, when we talked about the segment in our children, and nurturing and growing our seeds, that it does matter what you do, because eventually my babies will be out there and they'll be amongst your babies. And so I can't just turn a deaf ear and a blind eye, because it all matters. I don't want my babies to be cut down short because you haven't done your part. So, hey, so let's get into it. I'm seeing all these waves. Hello. Y'all missed the part when I said throw your thumbs up in your hearts and your happy faces.
Well, they
How
don't
are
have
you
to
guys?
stop. They can keep going, keep on waving and hearting and all the smiling.
I mean, I want you to smile. I want you to be
Yeah.
involved too. I want to hear from you. How we can nurture our seeds. Because we see the effect that it's having. And when we talked about the Black woman, we talked about the stance that she's been placed in a lot of times, where um, either through systemic racism or just continued ignorance, the Black man is a lot of times not in the home. Um, and so she's faced with the dilemma of playing the role, or standing in the role of daddy and mommy, and it can get a bit frustrating. However, that village is necessary, so as to assist um, the mom in being able to keep a cool head, so that she can effectively and properly raise her children. And so when you see this happening, when you see women, our beautiful black sisters, screaming and yelling at their children in public. And it really doesn't matter if it's in public or if it's just period, you know. When you see them yelling at their children, I know it makes me cringe because um, I see the aftermath of that as these teenagers get older and they grow up to just have no respect or just they're just angry, and the respect that I once was a part of when I was growing up is no longer. Like, they will cut you down in a matter of seconds with 4 words, and so it's having a an effect on our babies. It's having an effect on the seeds of this world, and so it's necessary for us to do something about it. So what say you guys? Like, come on, I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you. Hey guys, coming in. How are you? Talking about the black woman. What you got, Mama?
Oh, I was waiting to hear. But you know how where I come from. I certainly in bringing up my kids, my two, uh, during my Israel experience. Uh, you know, it wasn't easy, certainly, and it certainly was challenging as I was juggling the different points in my life. Uh, but at the same time, the priority was making certain that my two were um, doing well, healthy, and I won't even say happy because it's not necessarily, I mean, although we all want to be happy, there are those times when you have to um, bring down the raft. And certainly, so everybody's not going to be happy. But the thing is being content and being able to, as long as you can eat, sleep, and function properly, in my book, you're doing okay, as far as my kids were concerned. And that was the a priority for me, making certain that I exposed my kids to positive. Before they left home, if they didn't know anything else, they knew positive. They knew to respect each other and to respect others. Um, and we had a rule: you never go against the family. So, what's that old cliche? What happens on the ship stays on the ship. So, that was following those house rules was very important, is very important. And to this day, some of those things have been carried on as my two have grown into adulthood, and they have one of them have kids of their own. um, so it's just very important to set the ground rules early on. You can't wait until you get into the grocery store to start training your kids. You have to train them before they leave home. You can't wait until they get to church to start training your kids, or um, making it convenient for others to attempt to train your kids. Um, I took offense to anyone else taking the opportunity, to even relatives, to step in and attempt to train my kids, or attempt to uh, set ground rules for them. That's a no-no in my
Ah,
book. Although people sometimes, you're going to have those situations where people take it upon themselves. But that's the importance in laying the foundation before your kids leave home. And some kids get it and others do not.
and so I find that I don't know. It's a thought in my mind when I see our babies out there in public, and the mom is just beating them and yelling and cursing at them to stop doing what they're doing, and And the first thing that pops in my mind is like they can't just wait until they're in public to act like this. Like it's just hard for me to believe that this is the first time that you're seeing this type of behavior. And so now that you're in a public setting, it's embarrassing to you. And so you react, um, and react off of emotion instead of countering their behavior with the correct response when they're doing it. Period. You know, and so it makes me wonder, like, where are you when they're doing this at home? Because you can't tell me that they're not. Um,
And you just hit on a point. For a lot of times, this isn't the first time the mom is seeing it or dad is seeing it. This is something that carries on, that goes on in the home, in the household. And the funny thing is, a lot of parents, when they get out, they give the impression, I don't know where on earth did he get that? I've never seen, but you know, those things, those habits, it's hard, and that's another cliche. It's hard to break old habits, uh, and particularly when that's what goes on in the home all the time. You can't expect certain behaviors to take place outside the home when that's what they are used to. Your kids are used to in the home. The yelling, the screaming, the cursing, the punching, abuse. Period. You know, it's taking place in the home, and then when they get out, it's just like, I tell you what it's like. It's like a woman who, and I'm guilty. If you have on nylon hose and you have a big old run in your hose when you get out, and then when you get around people, oh my goodness, as if it just took place. You
you
know
did
what
that
I'm saying?
before.
Knowing that you just pulled those holy
How you know
stockings.
about that? You did that before.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, many times, many times. But
I was just so
it's
what they call ghetto. I'd be like, look, it's one skinny run. You know what it took for me to try to get this on, and my nails. I am wearing it. Look,
every single time. There was a time, every single time I put on hose.
don't make no daggone sense. Them pantyhose be costing like $3 or $4, and I put it on, and it's a run. Look, they gonna get worn today.
I used to swear out that, manufacturer era, they came like this. I didn't put this hole in here. But the truth, it's true. And being in the education profession, I can attest to this, that kids come to school with what they know, and expect, and the parents, and many times expect the teachers to retrain or to break old habits. If you're used to um um babying and petting up your kids, when they are at home, and then when they get out, they don't want to follow the guidelines or rules of the person in charge, the teacher or preacher or whoever, Sunday school teacher or whomever, Cub Scout leader, Girl Scout leader. They don't want to follow directions, and, teachers, I tell you, have the bird's eye view of this. Over time, I can tell when children are have certain rules from the home, that I can tell it's very, very obvious. So we have a responsibility, and this is an overlying theme we've been sharing throughout these broadcasts, is that parents are responsible. You are held accountable for your child's behavior, your child's, whatever they're doing outside the home. Chances are they got the go sign from inside the home. And once in a while, it's not like that. Um, and yes, it is embarrassing to a parent to get out in public and your child, act the fool. It really is. I have to say, truthfully, I never had, I never had but one incident, and that was, of course, my firstborn. But
I'm about to
setting the
say it wasn't
guidelines,
me.
he learned quick. He learned quick. Yeah.
It wasn't
La was
me.
lucky. La was fortunate because her brother
Fortunate, she got that
paved
backhand
the
right.
way. And sometimes I feel guilty that I didn't
That hand started
spank
shaking.
my
I
kids.
knew what that
I
meant.
used to feel, I used to feel left out, that I wasn't spanking my kids enough, when I look at other parents and some of my peers. But the truth be told, it's a testimony to the fact that I set the ground rules before they left home. And it was very important. I planted the seed that how important it is to not only represent mom, but to represent yourself as a positive person early on, and that's something you have to do early on. Now, like I say, every once in a while, when they get out there, kids get out there, kids will do what kids do. And, but and this is another thing. Don't cover up parents when you're either a church leader or teacher, school teacher, comes to you with a concern about your child. Not my child. Let me tell you something. Do I need to take my earrings off of this? Let me tell you something. When kids get away from home, all kids, even the best of children, they are not angels. Trust me. They will test the waters. They will definitely test the waters. And when you live long enough and you have been in the profession where you see these kids every day, in a school setting, you tend to know, you can tell those kids who are testing the waters. They're not used to doing that at home. I can tell those kids. I can also tell the kids who are used to doing those things at home. So when an adult figure, responsible adult, comes to you parents and says, little Jaquita uh, uh did thus and so, don't come out your mouth with not my child, he would never do that, or she would never do that. Please don't do that. Just listen and have an adult conversation and conference with that adult, responsible adult, and see what can be done to fix the issue,
And so
because I see that
even
too
with
often.
that,
I've seen that too often.
even with that, I feel like, just like the Bible verse says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is older, he
Absolutely.
should not depart from it. Not saying that he's not going to stray, but then it also is important, again, with the village being strategic. You know what I'm saying? Like, even with our children, like, their teachers knew. Their teacher, like, we made ourselves readily available and showed our face. Even when we all the time could not get there, they knew, like, you can call mommy's cell phone, you can call daddy's cell phone, his work number, and so they knew that it was a partnership, you know, and so
Absolutely. And
there was
back in the
not
day,
much
you
you
could
could
do
get away with just because you don't see mommy and daddy.
exactly. And back in the day, you could do this. Now, because of security issues, you can't just pop in. I always had a revolving door policy. My parents and I were as close as, hey, this is Miss so and so, and I'm just calling. I have a little few concerns with right in the middle of the act, and the child never knew, And the good thing was, as time pressed forward, they put telephones in the classrooms, most of the classrooms. So you were able to call and say, hey, how are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. Look, I want you to listen to something, particularly if it was a thing where that kid was just going off in the classroom. I said, I just want you to hear something. And I just hold the phone up, and the kids just perform until finally his buddy pals or her buddy pals would say, pointing to the teacher's desk, like, Miss C has your parent on the phone. Miss C has the principal. They didn't know who I had on the phone. But the point was the parent got to see firsthand. The other thing is when parents make themselves, because this is a team, educational process is a teamwork effort. And it shouldn't be a thing where you only come in when there's a problem or an issue. Um, Check at the front office, check on the policy of the school system. I believe now you have to get fingerprints and all that good stuff, whatever it takes, because this is your investment. Your
Yeah.
child, your children are your investment, and it's your responsibility to stick with them, good, bad, or indifferent. So don't make yourself, when we get back to that point of regular in-house school, and then again, the way things going, we may be like the Jetsons. Everybody remember the Jetsons? Might be a futuristic plan for education, but at any rate, stick with your educators. This is your key to success for your children. Trust me. When you get an educator who knows that they have the support of you, that we're working together, not apart. I'm not the enemy. And that usually was the first thing I say when a parent come at me. And first of all, I'm not the enemy. Trust me. The enemy is out there lurking used to be in the darkness. Now it's in the daylight. The enemy is out there. You know, I'm here to help, to work with you, to build your child into the best person they can be. And the other thing is, when you have educators or people you're entrusting with your kids every day, sometimes you have to build in fact, you do. Not sometimes, you have to build that relationship with that person who you've entrusted with your prized possession. You really do. Kind of, candy coated, sugar it up, oh, Miss Daffodil, that's a lovely hat you're wearing. Oh, maybe she doesn't wear a hat in school, but that's a lovely hair, and that's kind of over the edge. But my point is building a relationship, just as you would outside the schoolhouse with any other person that you deem as a friend or relation. So and not look at the teacher as the enemy, because trust me, those teachers see your child a lot more hours than you do. Trust me, for the parents who are
And
working.
so I do, just for the sake of being fair, want to insert and connect to that, because I know a lot of what you're saying is coming from the standpoint of an educator. And so I want to speak in regards to the standpoint of a parent, because even with my children, they know that the advocacy is for them. You know, my investment is them, and so the fight is for, and the movement is to ensure that they are in the proper spacing, and that they are set up strategically to be able to become successful. They have been surrounded and been placed into a position where they have the ability to be successful. And so, from a parent standpoint, I applaud all of the educators who are out there doing what it is that they were purposed to do. At the same time, the reason why I stay so attached and stay so integrated within the school system when it comes to my babies is I recognize, just like we're seeing in the police department, just like we're seeing in other professions, that everybody ain't all good. And so I don't ever want my my children to feel like, oh, well, it don't matter what I say, you know, if Miss Such and Such says blah 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 blah, then mommy's gonna believe it, and she can do whatever, to me, and it not be, nothing happened or whatever. And
And there's a
so
way to do that too.
I am, especially with my next to the youngest daughter. She's 9 years old now, and she's autistic. She's nonverbal. And so we had an incident 2 school years ago where she was coming home, or she came home rather. She had a little mark on her lip and had the prettiest smile, still does. And we finally fixed her tooth, but we weren't going to fix it until we got to the bottom, and any evidence they needed, here you go. But she came home, and her whole half of her tooth was gone, the whole half. And Nobody knew, we proceeded. I put her butt right back in the car. She got off the bus, put her right back in the car, drove right on up there because I wanted answers. And nobody knew, and they thought it was just gonna go under the carpet. Well, we don't know. She could have fell on the bus, and they thought it was, that was it. But we have a responsibility to protect our seeds so that they can grow and be what God purposed them to be. And so at that point, it's not, and I built a relationship with the teacher, but they knew when it came to my babies, the fight is on. The fight is on. So as long as your stance is where it need to be, hey, jump on board. You're part of my team. But the moment that I don't see where it is benefiting my baby, then you are absolutely the enemy at that point. And
and
and that's what I like. That's what I wanted to just kind of interject, because I don't want to have the misconception that, you know where you guys are just supposed to partner with the teachers and, and back them because they see your kids, more than you do, and you don't know what your kids are, which I agree. However, when it comes to my investment, everything is looked at with a magnifying glass because
but
it's my
with but
investment.
but hear me well. With a partnership is just what it says, a partnership. You don't go in with your machine gun right away because your child, and this is my point, and seeing it from both angles. I am a parent and was an active parent with my children as they were growing up, and I'm on the other side as an educator, and I'm only saying that in a partnership, there's dialogue. You're working together in terms of don't, and I've seen this too often where parents automatic the kids, first of all, they're gonna tell you, Mama, I'm gonna tell my mama, I'm gonna tell my daddy, I'm gonna tell Auntie Sue or whoever. But when you go in there, go in with an open mind to hear, to investigate, to hear all of the story, both sides. As with any altercation or disagreement, there are always two sides. Um, so, and that's my point, because in many ways, you can hurt a situation versus helping the situation when you go in with that attitude based solely on what that goody two shoe child has told you. And I promise you, I challenge every parent to come into to not make yourselves a once a year visitor to the schools. Because this is a partnership, you should have ready access to your children. My famous words were, don't take my word, just come in, check in at the office, get permission, school board, wherever you have to get permission, and see for yourself. Because I promise you, and here's the thing too, with, as we said, with the all of the child abuse that takes place has globally, yes, there are really valid concerns with, teachers, adults, period. And yes, you have a right to stand up for your child, but make certain that you are being fair, firm but fair. And because in many instances, there are homes where the parents have trained the kids to speak up, which is great. To You have a right, and I'm one who always said to my kids, both school kids and my biological kids, you have every right to defend your education. This is, your thing. Your education should be very much a part of you, in terms of your planning, in terms of your advocating for it. So you have that right. But at the same time, let's be fair with the situation. You know, um, there are no perfect people, let alone perfect children. And as much as we want to think that we have planted those seeds, and they are doing the right thing, those same kids that we have trained to speak up for themselves, trust me, they speak up for themselves. They speak up for the other kids' selves. They speak up for any and every other person. You know, they have that ability to do that, and they do that on many times. You know, um, I've seen situations explode where a certain child was in, may have been in, had done something that they were not supposed to do, or another child had done something that they were not supposed to do, and you have the other kid who's going to step in as their defendant, as their lawyer, attorney, you know, to, you know, and you weren't even, that child wasn't even a part of it, but they stepped in. Then it becomes an explosive situation where you not only have a situation between the teacher and this one child, but you have the teacher, this one child, and another child. And then many cases where administrators have gone around and taken a written account from every student in an effort to get all of the dope, all of the information. And kids stick together, you know, in the middle of chaos, they stick together.
But so
And
do
that's,
teachers. I mean,
but we
so
haven't gotten to that. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. So it's not, we're talking, you know, I'm speaking from the standpoint of children and
okay.
parents now. Now look, you got to read my book to hear the part about teachers. And I stayed out
Did she
of
bring
the
up this book again?
teachers lounge as much as possible because I refuse to be tainted by the opinions of other people, of teachers, of adults. You know, I don't need to spend my lunchtime hearing about how bad little Johnny or little Susie is. I don't need to hear that. Okay. When I get a child, I take them from where they are, not from where you said they were last year. You get my drift? So, you know, I'm aware that's a whole new topic there, um, in itself, when we deal with adults and how adults stick together. Yes, some of them do, many of them don't. Okay. For every quote unquote bad teacher, there are quote unquote good teachers, just like
Same
politicians.
thing with
Okay.
with children. Um, I don't discount that. You know what I'm saying? And so, and the reason why, I guess, because I want to switch gears a little bit before time runs out. The reason why I say that is because of this whole, where's my girl? I thought she was on here, Lakeisha, who has a movement about, stop stealing our souls. Like there are children out here that have have been abused, have been abused in the school setting, have been abused in the house setting, with people that we've partnered with, thinking that they have the same vested interest that we do, and realizing that they don't. And, you know, for a long time, that whole adage of what goes on in our house stays in our house was almost to meet the child's demise, because there were a lot of things that were happening that, because they weren't supposed to say anything, now you have a lot of broken adults, a lot of broken women, a lot of broken men, who have been abused physically, mentally, sexually. And so for me, like, I have six, like, and it's difficult and frustrating. It was, with them all being in different schools, except two. And but it was necessary. Like, I had to put in the work. At night I'm up, I'm listening. And so when I would come to the school, first of all, what I would tell my babies is, you better tell me the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So help you God. Because the cavalry's coming. But when I get there, the story that they give me better be within your story. And I would sit there and they would say, "Hey, Mrs. Castro, hey, Mr. Castro, today's a good day." And I said, "Well, we'll see. We'll see." And I sit there and my face is blank because I'm just computing info. I'm computing information. And so I did not come into the school with an attitude of, yeah, I'm about to deal with this. You done mess with my baby. Because I do understand, and I've come up to the school and I've seen them, I've seen them. And my children aren't bad, but I've seen them in a space where they wouldn't have done that in front of mommy and daddy. And so I'm hip to the game. So I'll sit there and I'll listen. And a lot of times there were instances, or I won't say a lot of times, there were instances where, because I'm an adult, you're an adult, they're a child. And so children, they have no voice. Um, you almost like, you know what I mean? And I'm like, no, I'm listening though. Because my vested interest is my child, not my teacher. Let's just be clear. It's not. My vested interest is not the teacher, it's the child. That's my investment. That's my investment. And so it's just like putting your money in the bank. Your concern is what's happening to your money. Is your money growing? Is your money still there? Have you given out so many loans that you can't give me my money if I wanted to withdraw it? And so the bank is necessary. How the bank functions is necessary to know, because you have an investment in there. You have money inside the bank. And so it's important, the teacher. However, my investment is the child. And so I'll go in there and I'll listen. I've already heard the story of the child. I'll go in there and I'll listen. And then I'll begin to ask questions based on what you told me, um, away from them. I'll bring them up in the meeting. Well, this is what you said. Because at this point, now I'm trying to figure out, whether my money is working for me, my investment, whether it's working for me, or whether it's working against me. And so now I'm going to bring these things up. They're no longer secrets, because if it's the truth, you have your covering. You have your covering. Mommy and daddy are here. Um, if it's not the truth, then we're going to let all parties involved know that's not how we operate. This is how we about to operate. So that the teacher knows that it's not that I'm always on your side. I'm protecting my investment. So if my investment is not working for me at this time, then it will most definitely be corrected in front of all parties involved, so that you know, and so that they know, this is not going to fly. This is not how we send you to school. This is not why we send you to school. And so, whereas my children's, all of their teachers know, and a lot of they may be on here, half of them on my Facebook page, and they know when the Castros show up, it is not just to burn down the school. We're showing up because we're protecting our investments, and whatever that looks like. Sometimes we got to protect it from itself. If that means corrective action towards the child, because you're moving into a space where it's not beneficial, it's not profitable, then I have to make moves to make sure that things are corrected. And so I say all that to say that I don't. I'm very careful to say, "Oh, nah, me and your teacher, we like this." Like, I'm very careful to not say that, um, because me and my child are like this. And so if we're all like this, we like this, which means that it's important, um, what my child feels or what they feel like they've gone through, because it may be valid and it may not be. And so that is where I interject and I input correction, so that they understand when they're growing up, no, you can't do that. Like, I made a statement when we were talking about our seeds in season 4, and I said, I created, we have in our household where um, our children are able to, they have a journal and they're able to write, down whatever it is that they're feeling about a particular situation or just period, um, and write it down however it comes out. And for a moment, my husband was like, that puts him in a place of being able to be disrespectful. And I said, well, the thing is this: if a parent is confident in the role that they operate in the life of their child, then that is not the concern. That's not the major concern, because if you do come out of your mouth disrespectful during this pen and pad session where you're writing it down and you're able to give it to us, then it's necessary. because maybe in your mind you don't think that's disrespectful. And I need to let you know that it is, because whereas you're in an environment where people actually love you, when you grow older, you're going to be in an environment where people just don't care enough about you. There are some people who could care less that you didn't know. And so it's necessary. And so if I don't see it, if it's not uncovered, then I can't correct it. And so it's necessary for that to happen. But um, I'm very careful. I'm very careful to as not to not go into a situation like the big bad wolf, like who did this to my child. And I'm very careful not to go into a situation where, yeah, the teacher said you did such and such and blah. I'm listening. I'm computing information, and that's what a wise investor does. That's what a wise investor does. And that's my stance on it. Somebody said, Gerald said, "Hey, Gerald, did y'all read Secrets?" No, tell us about Secrets. That's one of your books.
Secrets. I've heard. I've
He said, "What book? Did I
secrets.
miss something?" I know, right? She was talking about
It's
her book, Gerald. I don't know. Maybe I thought
what?
maybe y'all got together behind the scenes and she was
What?
getting her book together. he jumped in.
What are you talking?
He
What?
jumped in and said, "What book?" I guess he jumped in when you were saying something about book, reading the book.
I didn't say anything about the book today, Gerald.
No, you
That was
said no. Your
yesterday.
book. You was like, you got to read my book to hear about
That was
something.
yesterday.
And so, no, you just said it, mommy.
Okay.
You said you got to read my book to hear about the teachers or something, how you feel about the teachers. So he must have jumped in on that part and
Okay.
thought you had finished the book.
Oh, okay. You want to hear about it now? Is that what you're
No, he
saying?
thought you had finished the book. That was the highlight.
Oh, okay. The transcript is finished. The transcript on that part. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you.
We want the book. That's all.
Let
We
me
just
tell you.
want the book.
I know y'all want the tea. Y'all want the tea.
We
You
just
want the
want
dirt. You
the
want all
finished
of that.
product. So we can
Let
say
me
we
tell you
got it.
something. You know what? You know what my dilemma is? There is so much to be said. There is so much more than meets the eye. My experiences far surpass what you see and what you, even people closest to me, even my own family. There are situations, um, in writing a resume, my portfolio extends beyond what you see, what's on the surface. And one of the things that I've been dealing with more recently is what I can say and what I cannot say. And I know, I can always change the names to protect the innocent or not innocent. So my thing is this, I am if ever there was a advocate for children, for the elderly, and for education, it's me. That's my pet peeve. But at the same time, I'm a parent. I've been a parent, an active parent, raising, training children of my own. So, and I've always, to me, a partnership is not a situation where you're agreeing with your partner all the time. Ideally, yes, there will come a time where there's a medium, but ideally, you are working together for the cause. And that's where I am when it comes to parents. As I said, I've had big old strapping cops that come in my classroom. I've had all types of people that come in my classroom as visitors or what have you. And they are like, oh my gosh. And I had one of the better classes. So, to see children away from home, this is what I'm saying, my own included, when they were coming up, to see children away from home, it's a lot different from what you see at home in many cases. And all I'm saying, case in point too, is yes, we train our kids to speak up, to be confident in talking, with an adult, but at the same time, what I'm saying too is we have to, along with that training, we have to train our kids to be respectful. You know, um, it's just like situations where you have kids in single parent homes, or whether the parents are together and they're constantly battling each other and so forth. I've had kids that come to me in situations where, the parents were separated, divorced, and they take on the demeanor of the disgruntled parent versus the fact, what I always say to them, if nothing else, respect the fact that you were not flushed down a toilet. You're here. And if nothing else, respect the fact that it took ovaries and sperm to get you here. Okay. And that's separate and apart from the new age thing where test tubes and all that stuff. Okay. But ideally, both your parents played a part, good, bad, or indifferent, in your being here. And so the kids come with this attitude towards the parent, the non-custodial parent. And this is what I share with them. You know what I'm saying? Um, let's face it, ladies and men, because it goes both sides. When we're in a tafu with our mate, you take on this attitude, and many times, and I refuse to use children as a pawn, like on a chessboard, for your arguments, for your disagreements with your mates. So let's keep it real. I'm so serious about this. I've seen it all. I've seen a lot. And I'm saying, let's be fair, firm but fair when it comes to defending our children, defending anyone. Let's be firm and fair. Uh, y- you don't see your kids enough in the regular, back in the day, old paradigm of school, where the kids are in school X number of hours a day. The parent is working, oftentimes are not home when the children get home. And so let's be fair when it comes to the defense. And yes, we owe that to our children, to be defenders of them. We are responsible for them. Let's be fair when it comes to defending them in situations like like the school situation where, or a responsible adult comes to you with concerns about your child. It may not even be in a school setting. It may be in a home setting, where a parent, or a non-custodial parent, custodial parent, and other relatives are around your child. You entrust them with your children. And when they share things with you, let's sit down at the table and talk sensibly about it versus immediately, you know, uh, taking the side of the child. There are always two sides to every story. The Will and Jada situation is a classic example. Far fetched, but it's a classic
when
example.
their case.
So
Oh,
yeah, but that's all that I'm saying is, in order to be fair advocates for our children, we have to keep it real. And I'm a keep it real person, keep it real. And so my thing is, in order to raise and train these children in the way they are to go, so that when they're old or throughout their maturation period, they will stray. However, because of the foundation that they're built on, they will come back to the fold and do that which is right. Ideally, they will. That's all I'm saying.
I thought it was your last thought.
It
8:25.
can
Last
be.
thought. 60
It can
seconds.
be.
60 seconds. What you got? What you got? Sum it all up, Mama Lou. Since we
I
can't get the
say,
book,
um, let's be firm but fair advocates for our children.
I get that. I receive that. And so, to wrap this all up and talking about the black woman, and the nurturing of our children, just understanding that, that these are little beings that are going to be a part of society one day, and so everything is necessary. Everything is necessary to look at and to make sure and ensure that it is for the betterment and for the correct nourishment and nurturing of your seed, your child. We've talked about, strategically building that village, and that village, there's an extension onto that, which is not just those people in your immediate circle, but when they do have to go off into society, those teachers, those those persons that are in a church setting. It is important for us to be intentional and strategic about who we have around our children and constantly be involved. If you're always involved, then there shouldn't be a time where you're taken aback by something like, oh, I didn't know that was happening. If you're always involved. And so stay involved, ask questions, reach out to teachers. They're in Sunday school. People know, even in the church I'm in now, when we first came there, they, along with other churches that we've gone to, had children's church. My children didn't go to children's church unless we were able to sit down in children's church with them, because we wanted to know what we were releasing our children to. And so, like, stay involved. Stay involved. That's the key, to stay involved. And then you can make sound decisions in regards to the nurturing and rearing and training of your seeds, of your children. That's all I got. That's it. That's all. So it's 8:27. I want to save this last portion our morning tea with mommy to just reiterate J-Law Productions, which is a company that my husband and I own, where we rent sound, where we have our own studio, we have a lounge, we do artist development, we rent out musicians, we do bass lessons, keyboard lessons, guitar lessons, all sorts of things. We do podcasts, we do recordings, and so J-Law Productions is getting ready to launch something. That is necessary, I think, in this whole spirit of movement and being a part of the movement. And so I have been requesting that those who have been a part of my family, my mom's family, in this whole morning tea with mommy, that you would send in pictures of yourselves, your families, and show us those, that royalty, which is us, which is who we are as a culture, as a people, or yourselves individually in your profession, because not even speaking of specifically the Black Lives Movement, they just took a title that just still makes sense. Black Lives Matter, Black lives do matter. I don't care who started the actual or coined the actual movement, but Black Lives Matter, period. They do. And so I want to assist our company in depicting why Black Lives Matter. We talked several days ago about, we're in almost every profession, and so I want to showcase that. I want to honor that, and show people, that in everything we do, we excel, we're successful, and so that's why we matter, because we are most definitely a part of the livelihood of society, and where this world has grown to. We have our hands in that as being a part of that. And so I want to showcase that. We want to be able to showcase that. And so I need those pictures. And please let them be pictures that I can see, and I don't have to squint and be like, oh, there she go. Um, and so I need those by the end of today. Um, by the end of today. Tomorrow, J-Lot Productions is dropping a J-Lot Productions exclusive. I think we did that last week, but we have an exclusive that is going to drop tomorrow. And so we want you all to be a part of it. So get those pictures in. You can send them into Lahla-Hadiya@gmail.com. You can send them into morningtwmommy@gmail.com, or you can send them into jlawproductionsmanagement@gmail.com. You can inbox me if you that close. You can text me, but we need those pictures as soon as possible so our tech can get to work. Understanding that he has other things that he's doing. So let's do that. I would love to see your faces in the place, Miss Pamela. I most definitely want a picture of your awesome and amazing daughter. She has a daughter that is like
And
a
son.
dynamic track star, and her son. I think everybody run. So
Yes, yes.
I most definitely want to showcase them. Get those pictures into me, please, my angel. And all those, if you're a cook, show me in your element. Send a picture in your element. If you're a professional, like my Black Kings, like I need for them to see, who we are, what we are, which is beyond what they say we are. We are kings and queens. We are royalty, and so we want to showcase that. So let's jump on this movement. All right. It's 8:31. I'm a minute over my time, so let me go ahead and end this. You already know that I love you, and most importantly, Mama Lou loves you. But the most important of all, God loves you, and that is why it is necessary for us to get it and put in this work so that we can change the narrative, do different things to get different results. All right. So it's your girl, neo soul recording artist Lahla-Hadiya, wrapping up another segment, closing out the series of the Black Woman, another segment of Morning Tea with Mommy. And until tomorrow, bright and early 7:30, y'all don't want to miss it. I need you to tell a friend to tell a friend. You want to jump on the live tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be what they say, lit. You gotta jump on tomorrow on Friday. Don't forget. All right, tell a friend to tell a
Friday,
friend.
Friday, fun
All right,
time.
Friday, fun day, and let's get on this movement. All right, send me those pictures. All right, you guys, holla at your girl.
Mighty, classy, beautiful. Mighty, classy, beautiful. Mighty, classy, beautiful. Mighty, classy, beautiful. Mighty, classy, beautiful.